the idea that a person is destined to be with you. Okay, so here's the deal from a 5D mystic, enlightenment, functional adults perspective, since we have a relationship in 5D land, not the spiritual bypasser land. In the 5D plane, we are I'm presence, and we do know the heart of source. Okay, so that means we know that you are the contribution to the world. You, just the way you are, how you live, how joyful you are, everything has an impact. Obviously, I should correct my verbiage and say those who live true spirituality are a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self, and we're a 5D collective. So we live true spirituality, and they come together with sciences. So obviously, the yous that are the silverbacks, the ones that are Pinocchios with the wooden body, and they go to Stromboli, of course, they are here too, but they're contributing this thing called human suffering. And so because they contribute ancient stories, they don't have this lifestyle. So, okay, so I'm talking human love narrative here. People who do one-to-one to be their self over here, the masterclass group, the Ask Maria, any of that. Okay, so over here we get to be our humanity, which is why we overflow with it, and divinity descends, which is why we're consistently in consciousness, I'm present. And we're always in love with being alive, because to ignore mortality is the greatest ignorance. Thank you, Sadhguru. Yes, and also, as he points out, something about us and our destiny, right? So you will not own your destiny if you don't do life consciously. So I need to find the quote though. But I've read it at least a couple times. However, it's really good. Oh, this too. Detachment does not mean non-involvement. You can be deeply involved but not entangled. It's a 0-1-year-old life. To be securely attached is really nice. Existence is one whole process. You're not a separate entity. We know that too. As a person, I can tell you all about how amazing it is to love all people equally. And for the polyamory community, we don't actually have the whole masochist thing. Yeah, that's not for some of us. That's only for those who don't have healthy self-worth. So if you meet a Pinocchio with a wooden body and they're doing their basically teenage lifestyle is what I'm saying. That's why I use the word teenager and inner child, but it's not about the age. It's the essence of you. Your child charge parts and the teenagers are all adaptive child behaviors and patterns. Now, I don't demonize or romanticize, but I've seen a bunch of them. Again, you can walk the mule to the water, it won't drink. Found it hard to believe, Maria, that any of what you're learning with attachment trauma is actually good. Yeah, okay, Ruth Lanus. Traumatized individuals, they often wear masks, they smile, they pretend everything is okay. They're dressed very well and nobody can see their pain. But it's so important to be able to tell your truth when you're traumatized. So here's what a woman can tell you again about knowing, one, nobody is destined to have to be with anyone. Here's what a 5D mystic with twin flames can tell you about everything you hear from what are spiritual bypassers and their savior complex, and there's basically codependent, low self-esteem, Pinocchios with wooden bodies, who they don't hear their words, they don't notice their inner child, not even a little bit. Women, men, they continue to date with karma in the forefront. This is why they're not doing any of destiny basically in the way that they could. They're okay with it though. You better not tell them that, because they're gonna be like, how dare you how dare you do what you're doing, because that's what happens when an adaptive child comes up. The 16-year-old doesn't want to meet the 3-year-old. Don't you know they spite the actual person who's unconditionally loving because they didn't get that. The 1-year-old did it. So the spite, envy, jealousy, and the revenge, and the shame, blame, fault, these are all safety behaviors from people who don't want to welcome themselves home, which is why HP won't be with any of those people, because I'm my own home, and so can you be. And I have the attachment trauma information to support you. So again, knowing that no one is destined to be with you is actually common sense in an empowered woman's brain. Like the entirety of your brain, though. You're right here. It's called I'm an empowered woman. Even as a teenager, you don't have to be with me. I need air. I don't need you. I need water. I don't need you. I need food. I don't need you. Especially if you're going to cramp my style. I definitely don't want you around me. You create your own destiny, but as long as you create it unconsciously, you think it is decided by some other force. Okay, so I want to be kind and compassionate, but I notice a lot of people go around saying people are fucked up. And that's why they stay in their attachment, not secure attachment. Category and pattern. Okay, so Human, not a resource, definitely said Guru. A human being is a tremendous possibility. Yes, again. With the right nurturing, they will blossom into someone remarkable. Yes, but do you know what a person does when they meet unconditional love? Come on in, Peter Levine. A person who has trauma, you know what they do when they meet unconditional love? It means that you get loved easily. You don't have to work for love, and I will talk to you whenever you have any of your moods. What is that, Peter? What is it? Oh, they bird. Broken wing, where? Towards a cat in the cave. I see. So, when Pinocchio meets somebody who's about to save from Stromboli, they're going to continue to say, no, no, get away from me. Leave me alone. I think there is when, what's his face, tries to free him. His lovely guide, right? With Jiminy Cricket. At some point, he kicks Jiminy Cricket away. He says, leave. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so this is human talk, though. So no, nobody's destined to be with anyone, and there is no tragedy for an actual feminine. We don't have pain to let go of somebody who wants to seminate and basically stay within what is called low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive-aggressive, not healthy boundaries, person who doesn't become aware of themselves. It's a sad story, my lovely viewers, not a funny one. In fact, if there's anything that I noticed when I was still without all of the attachment trauma information was this very thing, that people don't appreciate somebody who knows how to speak in your face, not behind your back, tell you exactly how I think and feel, all of it, not any bit less. To this day, as a 44-year-old woman, if somebody says you need to filter yourself, I can't. I physically can't. You don't want to? Fine, I don't want to. Are we good? Because I'm leaving now. That's it. I'm not negotiating this. I'm gone. Thank you so much. Now, somebody asks me for an apology. My mother taught me how to be a decent human being, and I'm a smart human being too. You know what a 3-year-old knows about other 3-year-olds? They don't know how to admit that we have a subjective life called thoughts and feelings of our own. Do you know how interesting it is to learn about this very way of explaining something that I've been conceptually and practically embodying my entire life? And then to hear people say, I found it hard to believe. Every time I hear that, I'm like, wow, I know so much information, and there's a well, donkey, there's a water. You're the jackass, not the other way around. Oh, but there you go. But then again, I can be a jackass just as much as anybody else can be. However, in life, in general, what you find out from all these lovely attachment trauma information people is that if a person doesn't want to welcome themselves back home, as Peter Levine pointed out, they will go towards the cat and they will go in the cave. And this is what I've seen. And to me, it was never, in fact, personal at a certain point. I got to grow up, right? So with teenagers, I learned all about this personal thing. And I therefore decided that I wouldn't make it personal because I said, that doesn't have to be personal. And my heart stayed open. And so, again, nobody's destined to have to stay or stick around with anyone. The heart of you is not laundry. It's actually not only one of your 3 brains, because that's how they explain it. Although, again, you need to find the right articles, and then they need to explain it to you, and then let's not take it all out of context. And that's what sometimes people do. And this is a part of where I try to make you understand that there's a lot of different pieces of information that can support you to be yourself. Because my being here is to share voices, stories, perspectives, and how you can be giggly and happy, not pretend. Okay? And then how true love is not you're my destiny by force. That's sounding like I want to keep you with a fucking chain, and that's not anything remotely what love is all about. But people who end up with people who they actually think are loving, this is what has always mesmerized me. If I have to say there's one thing, is noticing how people consistently return to get treated like pieces of shit and don't ever look back to acknowledge, I've been choosing partners that treat me like shit, because that would be nice to see people noticing it, but with the trauma information, and then going and get help. Not in a way of let me go and demonize a person or romanticize it. And so when I see gender stereotypes and all of the stuff that they've done with twin flames, by the way, that's why we have a different conversation going on over here. You create your own destiny when you own your own brain. And again, destiny is what you make of yourself, because that's what a true spirituality person will be able to do. You are awakened because you're human. And thankfully, spirituality and sciences from people in the 5D collective, we can tell you all about how they come together. The part about what you get to awaken to with your twin flame or flames and your soulmates is something we also get to do if you need that type of guidance, one-to-one mentorship. But we will have a consult before that because I want to make sure that we're on the same page, that we resonate. And I have met those who are spiritual bypassers. And when you meet a Cusco doesn't know that he's Cusco or she or they. I do. And that's the part of where I have been taught how I'm able to present these equations by my lovely good therapist that I learned from. I have learned from experience that I will not be presenting to Cusco. The donkey does not drink from the water that is good water because a donkey wants to feel like Elsa. And so, with that being said, they actively, you can tell when somebody repeats something back to you if they have heard what you said or not. And then you can tell because they expand. So, when you know that people own their own destiny, it's because they own their own self. Use your human name and come on over. Mystic or not, you're a person, is what it is, and it's the restorative embodiment. So true love is our inner child adult because we take our trauma charges, those emotions, and our thoughts, and we know they're not irrefutable facts, and no person has to stay with any other person, and no group can make up all of the specifics. That's what makes me laugh. If there's one thing that I laugh about the most is that there are people who treat their relationships with human beings as a shopping list of specific attributes. Do you know what a human being is? So here, thank you, Daniel Siegel. We are a complex, organized system. And your body and your brain, your embodied brain, is looking to return to its optimized self. That means it's looking to return to your restorative embodied self and your brain to heal all those trauma charges. Do you know how happy it made me the day I found out that I personally, me, this human being, is not needed? I love to support people to be their self. But I've seen the Cuscos, the Pinocchios, and I keep hearing them all around. But I also know why. Thank you, Sadhguru, for your wisdom, because this is where it made sense when I heard wisdom from Sadhguru. So if you bring to the world unconditional love, infinite, higher human consciousness potential, what do you think you're going to see? You're going to always have two sides of a coin. I'm going to see the opposite of what I bring so that I can continue to bring it. And we all fill that kind of gap. Every voice, every story, every person in different ways, which is why we're a whole buttload of fragments of the same energy, piece of consciousness. But my point is, I'm not needed because all these awesome therapists can get any one of you out of hell. The thing is, once you're done, I don't want to do personal development. I want life now. So you want to do smiles? Come on over. You want to do laundry? There's a Zen master for you. And that's what I'm going to say. But yeah, nobody's destined to be with anyone. It sounds like a forced relationship. And any person who wants something like that, it's a 0-1-year-old that I know plenty of them. And then they don't want to go on apps and be specific and have therapists all over. No, they don't want to do any of it. So you're a contradiction. You want the karma wheel. And, at least there's people like Terry Real out there and Patrick Tihan, so good therapists, again, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Dr. Daniel Fox, so that couples who do end up together with unfinished business, they can end up over there. We create relationships of people who want to talk in each other's face about emotions and thoughts, FYI. So it's all people who are ready to be human. So come on over and let's have a good time. Like, share, and subscribe. If you know anybody who will resonate with the IHP content, please let them know about us. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere. Oh, I'm on TikTok. I am polyamory. So remember, for some people, that means I don't love anyone. And I love how they think love is like, what is it? Like only one person. I'm like, wow, love's infinite. It's time that I don't have. And I'm going to make sure to spend it with people who make me laugh and love. No crying. No afraid, no angry, no Eeyore. I don't want it. No depression, please. I know people that want, there's plenty of therapists for that. And depression is something you can work out of with the good neuroplastic agent of imagination if you're doing the bright sides, not toxic positivity. It's called I'll be objective with myself and I'll take it step by step every day. And then if we need, we have medication. So when people whine about empowering information on how to handle emotions, they can go to the Zen master who tells you all about laundry. And that's the people who want to say, no, Maria, humans are fucked up. No, they're not. They just could use all of them. And we surround them. 5D Mystic. They're all surrounded with good therapists. So, again, nobody has to be with anyone. That sounds like a prison. And the ones of you who do understand this, it's beautiful to have empowered men, women, and theys join us because we get to build 5D relationships. Besides the one-to-one mentorship, the masterclass, there's Ask Maria opinionated columnist episodes when we get to 1K on YouTube. We have a WhatsApp community and more. We have a Telegram community and more. My plan is to ensure we have healthy self-worth people, the 5D mystics, no spiritual bypassers. I will be able to spot anyone who's a spiritual bypasser, and I will be kind enough to maybe address you and take you to the side. I will not put up with it, is what I'm going to say, because there's enough people that you can go to flaunt your spiritual bypasser stuff around. I can point you in the direction. Here is where Jesus shared with me how to easily love. My mom did too, my family, and I'm breaking down things to the best of my ability to say any person can with the right foot forward and their mouth and all of it. Do the same. And yeah, plus there's like just so much beautiful information that we can hold together and have conversations, and nobody's having conversations. They all have chips on their shoulder between gender stereotypes and love. Like, seriously, this reminds me of my uncomfortable teenage herd, which I'm like, okay, you're all out. I'm choosing my herd. And that's what I did. And to this day, I have my herd, but now we have a lovely YouTube. Let's make our herd bigger and let's have fun with Claire's, by the way, because it's really fun to have Claire's, but not the Ursula way. So there's people who they don't. Oh, the Song of Ursula. Anybody remember? You poor unfortunate souls, so sad but true. This one wanting to be thinner, that one wanting to be the girl or get the girls. Should I help them? Yes, I do. So Ursula is obviously talking about people who want to feel better about their life. And I'm not going to tease anyone. I'm going to say there's good therapists, that every person that I've ever met who has had issues with this body stuff, which is serious business, which is why I tell them teenage girls that they need to look good. This is bullshit. We want to engage in empowering conversations about the emotions and about, for example, the fear of inadequacy that comes up at your adolescent brain years, and to explain like Daniel Siegel does, and to talk, not use stereotypes, and then to actively use words that are buzzwords. Some people are okay with it. I'm okay with empowering education, not a buzzword. Buzzword is not going to be taken effectively. The ones who think that it is are the smart people, and those are the people who will point out, but these are straightforward. And I'll say, for you, you intellectually think. I'm not only thinking of you, I'm thinking of all people. All people is 8 billion. So making messages accessible to all people. Buzzwords doesn't make messages accessible. It perpetuates what those who will have those short attention spans, which is why I've made some short content, some long content, but not using buzzwords. And so, last note, I have scoliosis. I'm flat. I'm 4'9". I was a teenager. I disliked gym. To this day, I don't like gym. I still have, my body still remembers being put in a situation where I felt, you're bullshitting me. You know why? Here's how they told us why we had to do PE. Because that way, we're going to make sure that you get into the habit, because you're trainable. You want to treat me like a monkey? And I don't have anything against the monkeys. This is a person who's a 3-year-old with my own brain. My mother taught me how I'm not a trainable monkey. So the minute that they spoke to me like that, I have a back brace that I can only take off 1 hour a day. And I don't have now the capacity to use an excuse, because you will know of my doctor's saying she can take her back brace off for 1 day, or every day for 1 hour. Look at my demeanor. Can you tell? This is a teenage version of me understanding what I'm being told, understanding the bullshit you're speaking to my face, not to mention you're trying to treat me like a little monkey. And I'm all over this with Kali, but I've been trained with Shiva and Krishna Lila, and I'm in school, and I'm like, okay, you need to get through this. You need gym because you're going to want to go to college. And I am not in any way humored. You know what I did? This was my way of spiting. I'm going to walk this fucking mile, and every time I'm walking it, I'm going to be the last one. I'm not even going to try. That is how it ended up with gym. I got my grades. As long as I got passing grades, I did not put my best foot forward because you're bullshitting me, one, by telling me that you're going to impose on me a habit that nobody asked you about, not to mention you really think that you making me do this is going to make me keep up with my pattern. So here's what all humans will know out there. That's the whole part about why any person, you can walk a donkey again to the well, you cannot make them drink. Information from IHP is going to resonate with people who want to be their self, not anyone else. And this is not something that has ever crossed my mind. I don't have doubt because I work like any other person does. But the difference is my ears are open to information. So with that being said, I'm aware of my resistance, not only to physical activity, to all of what I just described to you. To this day, I have to do my back exercises because I have scoliosis. The part about being imperfect, I dealt with that very easily. Anybody who's going to love me is going to make me feel pretty, even if I were the most monstrous thing alive. Oh, and guess why? So my mother's Neapolitan, and in Naples, Italy, or at least I think Naples, Italy, I don't know if all of Italy, there's a saying. And the saying is, every cockroach is beautiful to their mother. And so here's where that primary caregiver again, and that relationship, which is why it comes back always to our 0 1 year old. And then it can go back to our herd and to the herd kicking us out if we were not of any value. And so our physical life being threatened when you learn about evolutionary psychology, okay? So women, man, or they, doesn't matter. Our herd and our ancestry and all that is within that genetic, when you learn your biology, the biology, neuroscience, the ones who are really great at all this material, I forget all of it, not all of it, some of it, the specifics, but long story short, your body, our mammalian heritage will remember certain things. And that's where for me, I know what year it is. So I don't plan on going to the forest anytime soon. But my point is that you would feel that potential inadequacy in different ways, shapes, or forms. And again, for the body part, what I was also trying to get to as the love part is something that you can work on with a good therapist, with personal development, self-help. But it's about emotional awareness and then knowing it's not laundry. It's called emotions. And that's how you create resiliency. It's by choosing integration. What's integration, might you ask? Well, here's Dr. Daniel Siegel. You have a solo self, you have a core self, you have a narrative self, you have a relational self. You have, 9 domains of integration from my course material. Let me see if I can spot it quickly. But one of which is the narrative. So when sensations, images, affects, and meanings come up and behaviors, that would be where Peter Levine, Janina Fisher, anyone can come in and let you know that you're not a fixed self. You can work with all those behaviors. They are patterns, and you can get out of the adaptive child and move into the functional adult, which is where you see me. And I was already a functional adult as a teenager, which is why with my high school, I was upset at them trying to bullshit me by saying, we make you do it so you can get into pattern. You're manipulating words right now. And you're actively, I'm aware of what you're doing. And that is not okay. I'm not okay with you manipulating words to try and do something and make me, you educate me, empower me with it, give me information, explain to me, talk to me. That's because that's how I was held. And also my mother doesn't agree with manipulation. And so, and actually, if there were ever times she did try to manipulate, I'd be like, stop manipulating. And I'm not manipulating. Yes, you are. No, yes, you are. So long story short, my ears can hear when somebody is using words. Some people will tell me too, you're using words. And I'll say, no, you know what? I'm choosing the words that feel appropriate and effective to me. So we can argue about it if you want, or I can just tell you what I'm doing. And I can't find my notes right now. I mean, I could, but I don't want to waste your time. So all I'm going to share with you, though, is that the narrative, integrating the narrative, is about when sensations come up, you are able to know where you come from. And that's anytime something's coming up. What I just described to you from PE and all of that, I can tell my body's stiffening up. I can tell that I'm upset, and it's not like the 16-year-old me, but it still is from that time, because our charged states and those states, they stay with us, which is why mine are no longer charged. You don't see me yelling at somebody. So reactivity is when you're going to notice a charge, for example. But that's also why the spiritual bypassers, they don't move anywhere out of Elsa journey, because they don't take the emotions and say, let me stop being a squirrel from Cusco land. They say people are negative positive. The ones who ended up saying you don't end up with your twin flame, they just wanted to have someone in their life, so now they're off on that. The ones who are saying you have to end up with your twin flame, no, you don't. You can choose. And the reality, though, what I'm going to say about this as we conclude is your oversoul is not to be objectified. So the entire discourse in and of itself is one, bullshit, because we're all spiritually awakened. We're all a self. One, you begin making choices once you're an adolescent. Two, it's not easy for anyone who will have had not secure attachment and dysregulation. So as adolescents, they are in their prime to become addicted to drugs, fucking, drinking, and all of that bullshit. And I saw teenagers, so I mean, to me, I recognized you're all stupid. I know what I want in life, and it's not any of this. And I grew up consistently moving towards smart people and people who have moderation, because if you're not moderate, you're not smart in my book. And I know human suffering people, and they use the same, what is it called? The same methodologies to suppress emotions, which means they don't expand. And there's your spiritual bypassers, your low self-esteem people. They don't know how to communicate. They stay passive aggressive, and then they have porous boundaries, love avoidance, love dependence. And they're like, why am I all alone? Why am I all alone? And you're like, okay, go to an app, get a therapist, and just, no. I want to find the one. It's like, okay, the one. So the one is a person who can handle life, like a person who is here right now still listening at the extended version of what love is and what destiny means. Destiny means you know that there is no destiny. So people who resist the optimization of their own system, it's because their inner child is not welcomed by the person who owns the body. So again, you can walk a mule to the well, you can't make him drink, no matter how many times you can share information with people. Attachment, trauma, empowering information. Find it hard to believe that my first 3 years of life have anything to do with anything. Okay, so for now, that's what we're dealing with the community. We get to build community with people who are getting good therapy. They want to do personal development. You want to do emotions. You don't need some Zen master telling you got laundry in your body. You don't need to hear of it as emotional intelligence. I mean, we're going to do an episode on that one, because technically we do emotional intelligence and mastery. But again, I'm not for buzzwords, because the concepts are straightforward. I want to make it straightforward for anybody to understand. You can be here. I got lucky with secure attachment. And when my teenage boyfriend, let's use Robert Sapolsky, determined. So after 4 years, teenage boyfriend breaks up with me. And to this day, people think I'm traumatized from this thing. Like they think I'm traumatized from my twin flames. And I try to explain, loving more people means I'm not. Don't you understand? No, but you're pretending. Okay, sure, whatever. You know what? I know how to use my brain. I know how to use my body. And you can keep talking. But the point is, as he breaks up with me, I know that I'm going to be processing those emotions. And FYI, feminines, we already know what we're going through, which is why that rabbi, again, when he says that we have pain, how does he put it? This is exact wording, because you're going to go pick on the wording, because it's like you don't know people who have a good relationship with their emotional plane, which is where I'm at. That's why your host here, I love emotions. You bring it on. What are you doing? You think this has anything compared to what I learned from teenagers? I'm not even joking, my lovely listeners. I met teenagers. When I got older and I didn't meet anything different, that's the only thing. When you think you meet different, and then you realize, oh shit, they're all Cuscos. What the fuck? There's got to be Pachas out there. So to me, a real man, yeah, it's not a person who's going to have any shame, because otherwise you're still good boy. Be a good boy. Go on. That makes me in my bones. Kali's all over that one. And here's where Sadhguru, with his wisdom, we're not here to affect states of consciousness. Again, you can walk a donkey to the well. Oh, yeah, you can't have him drink. And this is not, right now, this is why I will say I respect my men friends, all of them. They've shut me down every time I've mentioned anything about how I disregard those gender stereotypes. And I shut down out of respect. I shut my brain. My left mode is shut down as we speak, due to the fact that I'm going to maintain my composure, due to the fact that they're insulting not only who they are, they're insulting consciousness, they're insulting every single inch of their own, all of it. And so I have no words because I'm the woo woo lady, and yet they can insult themselves, intellect, emotion, all of it, and I need to stand down. I did learn about the difference of how the brain is made. Doesn't justify what the gender stereotypes are, and I don't agree with the women who are all over the gender stereotypes. I took sociology. I was a feminist for a short time. I said I'm a humanist, I'm not a feminist. I don't believe men are stupid like that. I saw this pastor when he gave his speech, and I saw all these couple applauding him. Every inch of this of this stuff, I watched all of it. I was fuming by the time I was done, and I was like, you know what? If this is what men are, then I don't want anyone because they're not men. This is a monkey. I'll go hang out with the monkey. I'll have a better time with the monkey. I'll have a better time with a tree. I will not be around any human being in this moment in time that wants to tell me that that's what they are, because now you're just, I can't look at you. The minute I look at you, I'm going to look at you in a way that I don't want to look at you. See, I look all over the place. So where are you, Rabbi, with your lovely little? He was trying not to do the gender stereotypes, but he totally did. It's hard for men to commit. Sure. Yeah. Women nurture all. It's painful to start something new. No, it's not painful. It's fun. It's fun to meet people who think that they're actual adults. Yes, that's what I'm going to end with. So, yeah, no one's destined to have to be with anyone, especially not when it's hard work or good boy or any of what is to me demeaning. If I were a man, I'd be all over every single one of those gender stereotypes, not a little bit. I'd be all over everyone. And again, I'm not, though. I'm told that I'm a woman. So, as a woman, all I have to say is when I meet a man, and when we'll meet more of them, I'm sure they'll flock on over. And some of them are really good facades, by the way. Yeah. So the facades, we have so many facades, but I understand why. Again, you create your own destiny, but as long as you create it unconsciously, you think is decided by some other force. And I will break it down this way. Here is where you'll know. If you unconditionally love all 8 billion and growing people right now, this is not a competition, FYI, and you don't have to embrace this, but I'm spelling out to you how you can know where you're at with your emotional plane and with your openness to what is Akash and all of that which you hear, whether it's in spirituality plane, sciences, everything that I've been learning, okay? And actually what destiny, love. So again, no one can prove what's afterlife. This is food for thought. Anybody who doesn't understand this, it's social media. We're not in academia. If you want academia, you go to academia. So long story short, a unconditionally loving human being knows that every person is worthy of living. And you know it here, and that's because you know that your breath, their breath, is not based on a belief system. I'm talking to you right now about an emotion of sensations, okay? That's why I said you don't have to be here. Talking to you about how it feels when you don't separate from consciousness. When you maintain this pureness, it's not pure because of perfection. It's because you know, like Pacha tells Cusco, no one is that heartless. You know it here, which is why there's a pullback when people are acting in ways that are unkind. I remember it. Pull back. Be quiet. Wait. Pause. This is how I would get directed, if you will, by all that is Akash. And you'll see Sadhguru as he shares that. I laugh because I'm like, okay, that's making a lot of sense. Now I know what that was. Now I know what the pausing is. I can recognize a lot of things that I've known my entire life. And so it's really fun to be a 5D mystic. And then to be able and get more and more comfortable and notice, the nudging and whatnot. But you stay open, doesn't close. You notice, anyone notices if your heart wants to close. I know I did, and I said, no, I'm staying open. I want to love. Jesus taught me love. It's easy to love. You don't know how to love. Why would I not love? That's going to be something that I would take away from myself. I'd be a liar, to use the word. I wouldn't be able to do and commit to what I did commit to, which is, again, Jesus's way of walking a walk. And long story short, love is easy and straightforward. It's called I can stay open-hearted, and that every human has a story. And I know about childhood trauma. So anytime I meet anybody unkind, I surround them with a good therapist. And as for, again, destiny, nobody has to be destined for anyone. That's the whole point. You're supposed to have fun. That's what I can tell you love is. It's always fun. And if there's a mood, we're not going to be around because some of us have things to do. And so, yes, this rabbi as he shares, it's not hard. We don't start anything new. You see, in order to have anything going on, you need a person who can walk a walk and talk a talk. So, Destiny, you show me if you're life partner material by walking and talking with me and lifting me up. You don't ever push me down, and you don't push any other person down. We go and we respond. In fact, we don't argue with the guru about getting some woman off the floor. We say, okay, should we go? Should we not? What can we do? Is there something we can evaluate? We, as a human herd, true spirituality, we lift each other up, not down. And we expand consciousness. So science is spirituality. We are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. We don't need to be demonizing. There's no need for stories. It's 2024, and we don't romanticize. So here's the Jacob personality. We're trying to get that objectivity, neutrality and duality, unflappability, secure attachment. It's called equanimity. The Enlightenment Soul Age group, come on over. True love, it's all about unconditional with flaws and imperfections. Thank you for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe if you want, and share with your loved ones if you think they would be interested for one-to-one mentorship and or for the masterclass. Reach out by email, and we'll continue our conversation there. Thank you so much. Have a good one.